What is going on, everybody? I haven't made a video in a while. My computer broke, and I got a new computer, and as soon as I got it, my microphone broke. But I got this fancy new microphone, so we're back making videos again. Yeah, today I'm gonna be going over a, hypothetical Brazil pay-per-view that could happen next year. Um, and with the fighting nerds coming up, I built kind of like a fighting nerd centric card. Um, I know Pereira isn't a fighting nerd, but the other fights are all fighting nerds guys. So it'll be a 6 fight main card. I'm thinking this could happen in like March, April, May next year. Um, so obviously for the main event here, I've got Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Um, I think we're all kind of expecting Pereira to run through Khalil Roundtree. That seems like a given, but anything could happen. But we're just gonna assume Pereira beats Roundtree, um, and after that he is definitely gonna want some time off because he by that time he'll have had 4 fights in a calendar year. So I'm sure he's gonna want some time off, and give him some time off. It'll be October, so November, December, January, February, March, April, and then he could fight in May. So that could be 6 months off. Give him a well-deserved break, but you know, I don't think the UFC is protecting him. I personally have a feeling that Magomed Ankalaev said, "No, I don't want to fight at 307. I don't want to fight at 303," and that's why we haven't seen this fight yet. But who knows? I don't work for the UFC. If Magomed Ankalaev wins against Rakic, then you gotta give him a title shot. You can't deny him any longer. But give it to him in Brazil. Let Pereira fight in Brazil. I think that'd be awesome. And if Ankalaev loses to Rakic, then we can give somebody else a title shot. We can give Rakic a title shot. Anybody can get a title shot at that point. So yeah, I think that'd be a great main event. Basically, Pereira versus anybody. If it does end up being Pereira versus Ankalaev, I think that Pereira would beat him. Now, imagine Pereira knocking this guy out in Brazil. How fucking awesome would that be? But yeah, I think that's what the main event should be. On to the co-main, we've got Israel Adesanya versus Kyle Baralho. So, this is like the only alternative for Izzy, in my opinion, other than going up to welterweight. I mean, he's lost 3 title fights, so not getting a title shot anytime soon. If you want a title shot, fight an up-and-coming guy. You haven't fought one of those in a while. He's a contender now, and I think this would be an awesome fight. Kyle just had a great fight against Cannonier. He basically knocked him out in the 5th round. I think that should have been stopped. If he just walked off when he got that knockdown, that would have been a knockout because Cannonier was like out cold. But Kyle looked fucking great in that fight, dude. He's an awesome fighter. And, after beating Cannonier like that, I mean, he did way better than a Mavov. After beating Cannonier like that, you kind of got to give him like a #1 contender fight. Middleweight is kind of a logjam right now. Like, you've got Sean Strickland, you've got Whitaker, you've got Chimaev, you got Amavov and Allen, and you got Kyle. So I say we have a #1 contender fight. We have Izzy versus Kyle, and yeah, and then the winner of Amavov and Allen. I don't know what you do with them. I don't really care. I think Kyle is the most exciting, like up and coming guy in the division that is like close to a title shot right now, and I think this would be an awesome fight. So, yeah, let's get Kyle in Brazil. Onto the feature fight. Now, I know this might kind of seem like a lamb to the slaughter, but um, it's Gene Silva. Let him get a highlight reel in Brazil. And, yeah, Gene Silva versus Edson Barboza. I think that'd be awesome, honestly. Somebody's getting knocked out. It's probably going to be Edson, but, who knows? He might win. If he wins in Brazil, that'd be crazy. If Gene Silva wins in Brazil, then boom, you got a big name, highlight reel KO in Brazil. This dude is already making a big name for himself, in my opinion, he's the most promising guy out of Fighting Nerds. I mean, how can you not love the guy? Let's give him a fight in the rankings. Edson is number 15. If he wins this one, if Jean wins this one, then we can give him a top 10 guy, you know. Um, but yeah, this is an amazing fight. I would love to see it. What do you guys think about this fight? And tell me what you think in the comments. Like, do you think this is a little bit of a layup? Let me know. I think it's great. But on to the next one. Carlos Prates versus Neil Magny. This is another layup, but I mean, these guys have just been getting really impressive wins. So, I mean, let's give them a layup into the rankings. And once they get into the rankings, that's where they can have the hard fights. Because I feel like they've proved that they're ready for the rankings. Gene Silva and Carlos Prates. I mean, that's the first time Li Jingliang has ever been knocked out. Um, Carlos Prates has been looking like sensational in his fights. He's fucking scary. Everything about him is awesome. He fights kind of like Anderson Silva. He reminds me of Anderson Silva. And Neil Magny just lost to Michael Morales. Um, you know, like, what is the point of Neil Magny if he's not fighting an up-and-comer? Who else is he going to fight? What, are we going to do Neil Magny versus Vicente Luque? What are we going to do with Neil Magny if we're not feeding him to an up-and-coming guy like they just did with Morales? I don't know. But I think this is an easy way for Prates to get into the rankings. And, he'll be at like number 15 or 14. And from there on, there's a lot of good matchups that are like really exciting. This guy is always exciting. But yeah, I think this would be a good fight to add to a pay-per-view in Brazil. All right, on to the next one. This fight is gonna blow your socks off, dude. Mauricio Rufy versus Matt Frevola. Look at that. Look at that. Now, watch Matt Frevola fight and tell me he's not fucking entertaining. If you tell me that, you're crazy. This guy is awesome. And Mauricio Rufy had one of the best debuts ever. Granted, it was against Jamie Malarkey, but he looked fucking incredible, dude. He's like a Brazilian Conor McGregor. I mean, like, come on, dude. He's an awesome guy. Everything about him is great. Like, he's just, like, this guy, you know how some fighters, have the it factor? I think this guy has it. He's really entertaining. I think he can be a big star. And he hasn't fought in a while, so maybe he could get a fight in between now and then. But if not, this would be awesome. I think that the UFC should jump on making this, whether it's in Brazil or not. Put it on a fight night, put it on MSG. I don't care where you put it. Just make this fight. I think this is like a guaranteed knockout either way. And Matt Frevola might wrestle, so we get to see Rufy's defensive grappling in the UFC against a pretty good wrestler. But I think Rufy would probably beat Frevola. But, that's kind of the point of this matchup, is like, we're trying to get these Fighting Nerds guys wins in Brazil, and then after the card, they're huge names, and they're close to the rankings. Like, Matt Frevola, he's like top 20 in the world, I'd say. But yeah, this is a banger. Let me know what you guys think of this fight. I think this would probably be fight of the night on the card. But for the last fight, we have Thiago Moises versus this guy, the caveman, Oral By. I think Thiago Moises is like a good benchmark for like how good you're gonna be at lightweight. If you lose to Thiago Moises, you're probably never gonna be ranked, and if you do get ranked, you're never making it past like 12. If you beat Thiago Moises, then you probably will be ranked, and if you beat him easily, then you're probably gonna be like top 10, top 8, that area. So I think Thiago Moises is like a good benchmark at lightweight, and Oralby, he's had two really good wins, but not enough for a ranked opponent yet. But I feel like beating Moises kind of earns you a ranked opponent because he's a very solid fighter. You know, he's had a lot of fights, and a lot of top guys have fought him. So I'd like to see how this fight would go. I'd definitely pick Oralby, but it's interesting, you know, because Moises, he's not a bad fighter. I mean, he loses a lot, but that's because he fights like really good fighters. So I mean, he fought Yoel Alvarez, Ludovic Klein, Islam Makhachev, Benoit. Like, he's fighting a lot of good fighters. So I think if we can see Oralby fight him, then we'll be able to gauge where Oralby is at lightweight. But let's, have a recap of the whole card, and I'm going to give you guys my predictions for this hypothetical card. So for the main event, I'm definitely going with Pereira by knockout because Magomed, he has good grappling. He doesn't really get submissions. I don't think he has a single submission in the UFC, and he's got good ground and pound, but it's not crazy. And we've seen Pereira, like, if you take him down and get him in a bad position, he will just, hand fight. He'll grab your wrist and just hold on until the next round. And when people fight Pereira, they get infected with retard disease and they try and strike with him for some reason. I don't know why, but they do. And I think Magomed would. I don't think he'd shoot like until like round 2 or 3. And I think that's enough time for Pereira to knock him out. Magomed is more of a counter striker. Good luck trying to beat Pereira by counter striking. He's going to chew up Magomed's leg. And if it gets to the ground, I think he's just going to stall till the next round. And I think Magomed will eventually gas out. And Pereira is going to knock him out because he's going to force Magomed to go forward. And I think he's going to counter him when he does. Izzy versus Kaio. This is a tough one. But I think right now, momentum is on the side of Kaio. He's going to be getting better in the gym. I mean, he's from a great gym. I think I'd go with Kaio by submission if he decides to grapple, which shouldn't be something I have to worry about. But a lot of these guys are fucking stupid. So I don't know why he didn't grapple against Cannonier. I mean, clearly he didn't need to, but I feel like it would have made the fight a little bit easier. But, this guy, Kaio, is sensational. I think he's amazing right now. And I think he would submit Adesanya. I think he would get his back in round 1 or 2 and choke him out. I think he's an amazing grappler, and he just didn't really show it against Cannonier. This, Gene Silva versus Edson Barboza. Obviously, right now, I'd go with Gene Silva by knockout. That's kind of the point of this fight. I'm trying to get him an easy knockout and a way into the rankings. So, not much to talk about with this one. And same with this one. Prates by knockout is the most obvious pick ever in this fight because Neil Magny sucks. So, yeah. Now, this is a good one. I'm not sure because Frivola can wrestle and he's got a lot of power. But overall, I think I would go with Mauricio Rufy just because he looked really good in his debut. And I don't think he's going to be like a fish out of water when he gets to the ground because there's a lot of good grapplers at Fighting Nerds. So I think he'll be all right. Like, this guy trains with Thiago Moises, all these guys. I think he'll be okay. And this fight, I think I would go with Oralby by decision or a late TKO. I think he's a better striker and a better grappler. So I think every area that Moises is good, Oralby is better. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this card. If the UFC booked this as a main card, would you be excited? Like, would you like this card? Would you like buy the pay-per-view or stream it? I know you guys don't buy them. I'm not gonna say if I do or not. That's for you to decide. But yeah, let me know. Would you guys like this card? Thank you for watching the video if you made it this far, and I hope you enjoyed.